Savita Halappanavar died in an Irish hospital after being refused an abortion while suffering a miscarriage. Originally from India, her tragic death has made headlines right throughout the world, and it's reopened the debate on what is already a highly emotive and controversial issue. As a protest and vigil was held in Belfast this evening, it emerged the Republic's ambassador to India is in talks with the government there to try and ease concerns over how Savita lost her life. Viewers are advised that Sharon O'Neill's report contains flash photography.
Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om.
There have been protests in Dublin, London and now Belfast. The fallout from the tragic death of Savita Halappanavar has been greater and more widespread than anyone could have imagined. And the political and social ramifications in the Republic could be far-reaching. The shockwaves are being felt north of the border. Here at the City Hall, they've come out to support a family who firmly believe Savita would be alive today had she been granted a termination. They claim this was denied despite her repeated requests.
I'm here to remember this woman, and I'm here to get the abortion act here extended, because where I live, women don't die like this.
It shows the level of support that there is, on the ground level, for this movement, and to give the women the rights that they deserve.
It's been too long that nobody has said anything, or that there's not enough of a reaction. This could happen to any one of us. It could happen to any woman who's going in to give birth in an Irish hospital, both north and south of the border.
This has reignited the debate on abortion and just how the law is functioning on both sides of the border.
There is a real lack of clarity regarding what the law is if a woman is in a critical condition during pregnancy and needs an abortion.
Savita was 17 weeks pregnant when she died in Galway University Hospital last month. Her husband claimed his wife had complained of being in agonising pain while having a miscarriage, and that doctors refused to carry out a medical termination because there was still a fetal heartbeat. Mr. Halappanavar spoke to us from his home in India.
They said that the baby is still alive, and the law doesn't allow them to induce or, abort, and as he said, it's a Catholic country, so they said that the baby is still alive.
Under the law, terminations are only permitted in exceptional circumstances. That's if a woman's life or her mental health are at risk. But as this case illustrates, it's a very highly complex area. The master of the National Maternity Hospital in Dublin says it's unclear when doctors can sanction an abortion.
I think we're reasonably comfortable with those situations where we feel a woman will die. So in other words, if a complication arises during a pregnancy, which we're fairly certain will kill a woman, we don't really have a hesitation. We will intervene, and if we have to terminate the pregnancy to save her life, we will do so. And that doesn't give us, too much cause for concern. Always we're going to save a woman's life. That's our job. The area that's less clear is in those cases where it is not certain that she will die. There might be a potential for this to happen. There might be a potential for her to get very ill. So we're dealing with probabilities and we're dealing with potentials, but we're not dealing with certainty. And that's something that we find very difficult because we're really not sure that we are covered by legislation at the moment as it stands.
Protests are still being held daily outside Ireland's first private abortion clinic in Belfast. Pro-life campaigners believe Savita's tragic death should not be used as a platform to try and change abortion laws.
Ireland North and South have very strict abortion laws that protect mothers and children, and even to say that this woman would have survived if she had an abortion or the pregnancy was terminated is not evident at this time. It's not a case to legislate, it's a time to look at the case, and people may be angry, but my question, why are people angry when the law in Ireland protects mothers and babies?
As the controversy rages, a number of official investigations are underway in the Republic to try and establish just how and why Savita lost her life. Sharon O'Neill, UTV Live Tonight.
Well, joining us from Dublin is Professor Fionnuala McAuliffe, who's a consultant obstetrician in the city's National Maternity Hospital. A very good evening to you. As the law stands, how difficult is it for people like you to make a judgment call in particularly difficult circumstances?
Well, Mark, where we are at the moment is that if there's a real and substantial risk to the life of the mother, intervention in pregnancy is permissible. Now, however, there's no legislation to guide us as to what constitutes a real and substantial risk to the life of the mother. Now, sometimes this situation is relatively straightforward. The mother is very unwell, she has high blood pressure, it's uncontrollable. We're concerned that she will have a stroke or even die in the coming hours and days. And those situations are easy to act upon. We intervene in pregnancy or terminate the pregnancy. However, where we would welcome some guidance is when the risk to the life of the mother is less immediate and less dramatic. This is a grey area for us, and we would certainly welcome guidance in this area.
So without that guidance at the moment, Fionnuala, what sort of pressure does that put on you as a medical consultant?
Well, I suppose the first thing to say is that medical care and maternity care in Ireland is of the very best standard of international standards. So we deliver very high quality care. If we're faced with a woman who has a life-threatening situation, well, then we can act in the mother's interests. If it's less clear as to whether the risk to her life is immediate, well, then those situations are more difficult. For example, if she has heart disease in early pregnancy, and there's a risk to her life, perhaps not in the next hour or day or week, but perhaps down the line, weeks and months. Those are the grey areas.
OK. Fionnuala, the Taoiseach is one of many people who's now saying that there needs to be greater clarity in the law. Thinking specifically about changes to the legislation, though, what needs to happen?
I think, Mark, what we need is a clear definition of what a real and substantial risk to the life of the mother is. And we need legislation for that, and that will allow us to develop guidelines here in the Republic to then act in the mother's interests and in a more standardised way. So I am aware that the government, for example, has just received an expert report recommending ways that we can legislate for our current situation.
OK. Fionnuala McAuliffe, consultant obstetrician from the National Maternity Hospital in Dublin. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.